Hello and welcome. Time for another trading strategy video. My name is Derek. All bets, trades of the likes, or all strategies, or all strategies you use, always within your own risk reward. I like to go over this and talk about mechanisms, and I did some video series recently on like putting two coins together. This is going to be an example of just using how many should I sell. And when I did this, what I've done is an example of if the ratios of, say, two particular coins were such an event, how well would I do? I put in just what a random day number were. So as far as each of these columns, and there's up to column L, I have day number, which was just a manual entry. I went with two coins, like a fake one, PQR, and DGB. It doesn't matter. I could have went ABC again because it's all about just how the ratios work together. And I just put in fake numbers exactly for that point. Ratio is just simply dividing this by this. Change in percentage move on the ratio. And then for trades, this was a manual entry. How many would I buy or sell? And I did this just over a period of time. And then this would automatically calculate it without rake. So by taking this number in here and reversing negative. If it's negative, it goes positive. If it's positive, it goes negative. And then it takes that number from the ratio. So this number multiply that number. Relatively simple. But there's rake involved. And I'm going at half of 1% of whatever this is, making sure that whatever it is, it's always positive. As it's two trades when you think about it. You buy one and you sell the other. Two trades. So that's what I'm going to do 0.5% rake. Although when I'm using these percentage moves, and I use some pretty big ones in the next one, and near the end I just did a whole bunch just to finish it off, but to show examples of profit taking and profit taking measures, as well as just basically how mathematically this strategy really works. So therefore, what I did is I just did this to a whole bunch of periods, starting off within 4,725 PQR. I'm assuming you have a whole whack of DGB, and I'm just doing plus minus how many you're up. And in some cases, as we can see here in row 20, a spot where we're going to assume that the price of the DGB goes down, that you end up actually selling into it. But I got a whole bunch of rows that I'm going to go over. What I'll end up doing is I'm just going to do page down, and you can pause the screen if you wish. But the whole idea was a decent percentage move. And you start off with 4,725 of these at the price points of 350 and 2115. So I'm going to move this lower. Okay, so we're going to do it again. Okay. And again. Okay. Again. And there we have it. So as far as where it stood, let's just paste and I don't even need this. So when it all came down to it, you start off with 4,725 of the altcoin. You would have increased it to 125,000. I mean, it would have been a lot of trades to do it. But I did it would have been a span of a year and a half, 500 days. I just picked whatever number that came to my head, how I think a situation would go. And 133,000 of this coin as well. The price would have increased here, would have about stayed even on this one. And overall doing pretty good. But when I said this at the start, on this date, Bitcoin was 3,800. Well, what does that have anything to do? As Bitcoin prices against the dollar was never, ever, ever included in this example. So I did another one. And let's assume in this example that you had 150,000 DGB. And that was after you bought major purchase. So you had 150,000 DGB, you had 4,725 of these PQR. When you start, then your overall net value would have been that of about 0.5 Bitcoin. Not bad. And they'd be worth $1,657. So, some people could just enter something like this in just as a speculation level and try to see if they can turn it into something significant. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Definitely I did. And see how this goes. After all, we can only see 44,000 on here, but that's not that significant in my book. Although that's good. That's good. I mean, you can't almost buy a house with it, and you can or can almost buy a car with it. When we look at how this works out, I'm going to put the prices again, just different situations. What I try to do are spots where all cryptos go down together with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin goes down, excuse me, where Bitcoin goes up, cryptos go down, both go up together, all those sort of deals, big rise, big falls. I started with a small fall here to 2,200. All that sort of deal, and same thing, same sort of deal on the right hand side. But again, all I added to this example here was a US dollar and what your Bitcoin value would be worth, because profit taking is very important. Let's look at this for two different things. What should we be doing on here that would not be done within the net results? Meaning all you're doing here, and by the way, the number that it gets up to is 3.8 million. But what you should be doing that's not on here is two things. Definitely the second, though. The first thing is selling your altcoins for Bitcoin when the price goes up too much. I'm going to start this again like I did before, DGB at 350. We'll assume we know its history, and we'll assume PQR is a new one. You don't know anything else about it. But it's 21.15 in this example to start. Because when these coins go up, like we see here, this is up to 1,500. Why aren't you profit taking some? When it goes down to 500 or 600 or 700, buy some more. When these things are doing 10, 20, 50, 60, 100x moves higher, and then 2, 4, 10, 12, 15x, 20x moves lower, then you should be doing the same thing yourself. Maybe not like 20x, but when you see a move go up like 20 times, and then selling it for a 4 or 5x decline, nothing wrong with that. In fact, that can be profitable. And the second one is when the value of your fiat is worth so much because Bitcoin is so high, how well will you do? Well, in this example, if you did nothing and you've seen this rise, let's assume Bitcoin goes to $250,000. If it got to $250,000 and your altcoins at that time, I moved them up to 8,946. I was light on this, the highest. I turned this coin at 21. Well, I dropped it down to 500 even afterwards because you never know. You could easily get into something that goes down 4 times. I want to make this example clear. You get into this, it goes down 350 to 150. So even before it went way higher, this is a spot where you can see your portfolio go from $1,600 down to $560. 3x decline. That can happen. And then your Bitcoin value going down in half as well. So I wanted to just show those examples in here. And within these moves, you can see these are when the ratios went up or down this percentage. Aggressive trading. That's what I wanted to do within this example. The other one before had a little bit smaller moves. Okay, so as we see in here, when it goes up to 44,000, that's when these coins were worth high. At least 1,500 here again. This is bold for a reason. But within this 3 million number, and even back in here for that matter, when you could almost buy those 4 houses on the block, but you definitely can buy that one, then it's doing pretty good. But where's the profit taking measures? You got a coin at 7,000 Satoshi that was at 500. You have a coin at 3,600 Satoshi that was at 625 back here, and was 625 here as well, and was down to 150 and 8,900. How do you not, when it's at 8,900 here, you got Bitcoin prices at $250,000 after it was 33,000 Bitcoin prices, we'll say. We're talking about how you would handle the future situation like this. Then how do you not sell these 4,600? I mean, well, maybe you don't sell 46 because you sold at 69, and there's going to be some prices that could have been higher. But the overall aspect would be, you know, they're going to go way back lower, and then the profit taking and turning this into other mechanisms. Because assuming that you had even just this decline in here, I did it 15 days later, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin were to fall from 250 to 150. That wouldn't surprise me. Not in this world. Your altcoins, one goes from 9,000 to 34. But when it rises sharply from 625 to 89, how you not? That's not a surprise. I'm trying to do it as realistic as possible. And this one falls from 46 to 36. You had 15 Bitcoin. You were worth 1.2. What a rise. Hope you protected some of it. You were worth 43 grand. Now you would be worth 3.8. I hope you protected some of it, because if you didn't, 6.5 Bitcoin and 995,000 or $1 million. So you lose. You go from 3.8 to 1 million. I mean, back in here, you're like on day 370. Oh, we're at $1 million. We're millionaires. We're crypto millionaires. And then days later, months later, up 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Okay. Oh, we reached the 10 Bitcoin number. Okay, great. And actually, you can be doing more sick numbers than this. I'm just using, again, a simple example, and because all of them are pretty much the same. That when crypto prices rise like this, altcoins like this rise, these gains in both of these are just going to go up and down like this. But then if it even goes down further, I got 60,000. And I want to go to this blue line here, because you would have seen something go from, because going from 250,000 to 33,000 is possible. We've seen it go from 20,000 down to 31. And even if not, we can take a look at going from 3.8 million to 470,000 at the 75,000 number. The declines can get pretty serious. And having an altcoin which already went from 9,000 to 32, but down to 1,006 here, and this one falling what was 7,000 down to 1,500. I've seen cryptos do that. But compare these numbers in here, and I put that exact 33,775 in to reference this here, because you notice that the number of bitcoins that you would own would be higher. That's the whole point of markets going up, markets going down within these trading strategies. It's that it's going to make it long term so that when you go up or back down to a place that you were at before, your portfolio is going to be better than it was. But how much better would your portfolio be if you can actually look at gold and silver from what you bought in here, while you're driving that nice, beautiful car? And if your stakes are higher in your new house? Although, technically speaking, you can technically shave a little bit off this and buy a house at 3.8 million. So don't even throw that part out, even. And then taxes, you can take the good more out too when you pull it out in those types of measures. But we'll throw in that parts aside, because when you end up having spots where, like I was mentioning, okay, you got the price rise of DGB in this example going like 3,000. Why aren't you selling big at 3,800, let alone at 89? Well, now, if you were selling DGB at this point and the price were to come back down, well, your 8,900 buys are already bought and back, say, for 2x moves type thing at 3,000. And then the stuff you were selling in the 38s, you're buying over 1,000. So that would be making your portfolio better amongst the situation as well. Again, why I find it very important. Now, what I did was I put in the opening prices at the very bottom, which would have been 2115, 350 DGB, and 3,800 Bitcoin. And in that situation there, you would be worth 1.13 Bitcoin, which would technically be, well, technically it was 3312 actually, but that doesn't matter because we're talking about this, and actually your portfolio would have been higher. Let me see if I do this, if it should work. Yeah, 6249. So your portfolio actually was worth 62.5% of a Bitcoin, up to 1.13, which is pretty much just double. Now, of course, I would have assumed that there would have been no trades and this would have fell to this nature like this, where if, well, that's what it is. It should be higher though, I'm thinking, but not much higher. But the whole point of what I'm saying is exactly as it is. That when you get these moves and get these trades backs and forth and the prices escalate like this, and you're in the business of holding alternate coins that go up higher when Bitcoin goes up, then these values can get extremely sick to the upside, but they can become just as sick to the downside. So when I talk about all my strategies about buying low, selling high against whatever base currencies, and it's pretty much hardly ever the dollar. Yeah, I'll show Bitcoin against the dollar and even sometimes Litecoin against it. Very rarely I show any other coin against the dollar. But when that's the case, when I'm trading, it's always about against Bitcoin. Or if you're doing the same thing against Ethereum, same thing. And it is the same thing again, just I think more profitable and more trade opportunities with altcoin versus altcoin. But it's all going to come down to your portfolio. This to me in here, for what it's worth, your BTC value and how it coincides with this based on Bitcoin prices is the most important chart. How your Bitcoin portfolio is, because uh, that's your base trading value. Bitcoin price is what it's worth, and then when this is worth high, to me, that means profit take against the dollar. When this is high, profit take against your base currency. That's the whole general thing that I want to get in at it. So again, you see these numbers go up, your amount of your Satoshi level for whatever it is, just protect it like no other. Bitcoin prices go higher, again, protect it again. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.